Just last week, we were the first to report that there were Russian FSB agents actively recruiting in South Africa. And now the story just dropped that Jacob Zuma sent his own bodyguards over to Russia to receive military training. And now these bodyguards are stuck in the Donbass and they want Ramaphosa to help them out of there. But if we look at the Russians and how they operate, we must know one thing. Yes, they are very good friends of Jacob Zuma and always had been. He had always been the one true Russian friend in South Africa, although the rest of the ANC are also Russian friends, but he always stood out. But the Russians will cater to anyone's politics or interests in order to just get them to do what Russia wants them to do. So now South Africa finds itself at the center of one of the strangest and most alarming international relations scandals in recent years. 17 members of one of the biggest political parties in the country are now trapped in the front lines of the Ukraine war, fighting for Russia. But these aren't South African soldiers or SANDF members. They have been sent there by former President Jacob Zuma's Umkhonto we Sizwe to fight for Russia against Ukraine. And now, what began as supposed security guard training, or that's at least the story that was supposedly sold to them by Zuma under Umkhonto we Sizwe, has suddenly turned into a geopolitical nightmare with potential explosive consequences for the Umkhonto we Sizwe and South Africa's geopolitical position as a whole. Last week, the news broke concerning these 17 South African citizens who are stuck in the Donbass war zone while fighting for, we didn't exactly know whom, but now we know Russia. Yesterday, the news broke that these men, aged 20 to 39, and who almost all originate from KwaZulu-Natal, were sent to Russia to supposedly undergo training, Zuma's bodyguards. Yesterday, the state confirmed that these 17 men now trapped on the front lines in Ukraine were actually sent there by none other than Jacob Zuma. The group originally consisted of more than 20 men, but only 17 remain in contact after being sent to the war-torn Donbass region, meaning that the other 4, 5, 6 or how many ever they were probably already died, where they are reportedly being held in terrible conditions as well, according to them. They were allegedly recruited by a Russian intermediary or FSB agent. Yes, we've talked about the FSB agents visiting South Africa, and told they would receive professional training before returning to South Africa as part of the MK Party's so-called protection unit. Now, this is nothing new. We have seen stories from all over the world where people are now drawn to Russia with promises of everything from jobs in construction units and even model careers and even university studies. And once they arrive there, they are told that they need to do 1 year of mandatory service in the Russian military. Upon arrival in Russia, their passports and belongings were confiscated, their clothes were burned, and they were issued military uniforms before undergoing 3 weeks of basic training in the Russian military. Exactly the same process we saw happening all over the world with many different people from different countries that end up on the front lines of this war. But how on earth did all of this, in what seems to be an almost surreal news story, happen? Well, Jacob Zuma, the former South African president, has long had a very good relationship with the Russian government of Vladimir Putin. Back in March 2013, Zuma, who was then president, famously hosted Putin in South Africa to announce the Durban Declaration for Strategic Partnership between the ANC-led government and Vladimir Putin's Russia, covering multiple sectors including agriculture, defense, education, energy, and specifically mining. And then again in May 2015, President Zuma visited Moscow for bilateral discussions with Putin, in which they reported strong cooperation, political, economic, social, defense, and in the security field. Of course, Ramaphosa had taken a slightly different approach to geopolitics, trying to play both sides of the field, but Jacob Zuma was a staunch supporter of Russia and the Russian side. Under Zuma's presidency, South Africa also joined the BRICS group, an initiative bolstered by Russia and aligning Pretoria more with the global south and away from Western-dominated liberal democracies. Perhaps the biggest news story relating to this government's close relationship with Russia during Zuma's presidency was the attempted 10 billion rand nuclear deal. Russia's state nuclear company, Rosatom, was engaged in discussions with South Africa during the Zuma years to build and operate multiple nuclear power stations, reflecting close strategic cooperation. In fact, during Zuma's presidency, Russia was the one country to which his government conducted the most official state visits out of any other country in the world. But Zuma's close relationship with Putin did not come to an end by any stretch of the imagination when he left office. In August 2023, while officially on medical parole after being jailed for contempt of court, Jacob Zuma traveled to where? Russia, supposedly for medical treatment. Conveniently, he left for Russia immediately after the Constitutional Court had sentenced him to prison. In 2024, shortly after the MK was founded and in the run-up to the election, several X-accounts linked to Russian troll farms were posting online, trying to rally support for Zuma's new political party. And while Jacob Zuma has not been president of South Africa for the last 7 years, it seems as if both he and the Russian government somehow view the establishment of his Umkhonto we Sizwe party as an extension of his time in office, wherein he had signed security and defense agreements on behalf of the South African state. Indeed, a recently leaked letter from Zuma to the Russian Minister of Defense with regard to these MK members sent to Ukraine to fight for Russia shows that Zuma and the Russian government, in the most bizarre fashion imaginable, seem to be continuing with business as if Zuma is still in office as the president. In the letter, which Zuma had personally signed on September 19, 2025, and which was addressed to Russia's Minister of Defense, Andrei Belousov, Zuma requested that the MK members fighting with the Russian military in Donbas be removed from the battlefield and relocated to safety, warning that their deaths would constitute a devastating loss for South Africa's relationship with Russia. What does this mean? Does this actually mean Zuma's relationship with Russia? MK Party spokesperson Nhlamulo Ndlela confirmed that the letter bears Zuma's signature, but said the party is still waiting an official response from Moscow. Families of the men say they were deceived with promises of well-paid jobs and that their loved ones are now living underground, surrounded by drones and constant bombardments. The current president, Cyril Ramaphosa, the surprise face guy, has confirmed it received distress calls from the group and that an investigation, again an investigation as it always is underway under the Foreign Military Assistance Act, according to which it is completely illegal for South Africans to enlist in foreign armed forces without authorization. At the time of recording, the latest from Ramaphosa's office is that the government officials are using diplomatic channels to try and verify the men's identities. The fact that a political party in itself is mobilizing and facilitating this deployment of South African citizens into a war zone is, of course, a criminal offense. But it raises massive questions with regard to oversight, governance and accountability when it comes to South Africa's Russian diplomacy. One has to ask oneself, what on earth is going on behind the scenes when the government of a foreign country such as Russia is having their ministers in their official capacity as members of Putin's cabinet, negotiating with corrupt politicians here in South Africa who is barred from even standing for election for the national parliament in South Africa under the current constitutional law? How is this not direct foreign interference in our domestic affairs? One cannot help but ask oneself what games are being played here behind the scenes. But the most immediate issue is that if this is proven that Umkhonto we Sizwe from Jacob Zuma knowingly sent South Africans to fight in the Donbas war zone, which all facts point towards, the legal consequences should be extremely serious. both for the individuals involved and for the organization itself, and also for Jacob Zuma. Locally, the party should face criminal prosecution as a juristic person under Section 332 of the Criminal Procedure Act 51 of 1977, which allows organizations to be criminally liable for actions authorized by senior officials. Furthermore, the IEC should, in theory, suspend and deregister the party if found guilty of promoting a foreign armed conflict in violation of the Electoral Act 73 of 1998, as well as the Political Party Funding Act 6 of 2018. On top of this, the actions of MK could also have devastating implications under international law, as in particular, the Russian involvement in the case could expose to international sanctions and frameworks in South Africa, especially if funds or logistics flowed through sanctioned entities, which already happened, as we know and we have talked about in the previous video. Funds from oligarchs such as Maloviev flowed through companies such as United Manganese of Kalahari into the hands of the ANC. So what about MK? In other words, Russia is currently under extensive Western sanctions. Any South African organization that cooperated with or received money, training, or logistical support from a Russian entity like this already on sanctioned lists could be seen as aiding and transacting with sanctioned actors. This could expose the MK party and anyone facilitating such links with Russia to secondary sanctions, asset freezes and restrictions on international banking or travel, or even criminal prosecutions. This could be devastating for the MK, and this story alone has the potential to radically shake up the entire political landscape in South Africa. Check out our recent video on how the MK has been rising in the polls recently, and you'll realize just how big of a story this could potentially become. Simply click on this link appearing on your screen right now, and help us continue doing this work that we do in producing videos like this that could change the hearts and minds of others by becoming a paid member of the Willem Petzer Group. Simply use the steps on the banner underneath me. Goodbye, and God bless.